EJ Manuel, he provides studio coverage every Saturday throughout the season on ESPN with Matt Berry and Joey Galloway. Also co-host the ACC Network Football Podcast. Good to see you again, EJ. How do you think things are going in Clemson today?
First and foremost, Dan, great to see you as well. Just want to say you are an absolute legend. And since today's my dad's birthday, we will wake up and watch you on SportsCenter every single day when I was young. Not to age you at all, Dan. You still look good. But want to give you your flowers here as I join the show. I'll tell you what, man. Look, it's probably a dark, gloomy, maybe rainy day in Clemson, South Carolina. And this is a team that came into the season with so much hype and expectation, preseason All-Americans and potential first overall pick in the quarterback in Cade Klubnik. And they just haven't played consistently well. And the crazy part, Dan, is they've been out physical in some portions of the game. And going into this matchup with Georgia Tech, who is a tough team because of their head coach and Brent Key, that's exactly what happened. And, they made some plays, but ultimately Georgia Tech made more. And that's what Tech has done since Key's been the head coach.
But do you think if I said Notre Dame at 0-2 or Clemson at 1-2, who's in worse shape, you would say?
I'd say Notre Dame is in worse shape.
Really?
Because they don't have a conference championship to rely on, Dan. So that's the part for Notre Dame as an independent that we have to take into consideration. So even if they go undefeated from this point forward, they're still going to have to really have a resume that shows, hey, we belong in the top 12 to get into the playoff. Whereas for Clemson, you look at it, this is just one conference loss. So they still have a ton more conference games to play. They went out, potentially still make it to Charlotte first weekend in December and can play for ACC championship like they did last year. And they actually lost one game in conference to Louisville in 2024 and still were able to make the playoff. So I would say right now, Notre Dame's in a bit more, tougher shape than Clemson is.
What happened at UCLA?
Oh, dude.
Do they want to be serious as a football program?
I had this conversation with Matt Berry and Joey Galloway over the weekend as we were watching all the games. And to me, Dan, I think it's a great job. We were having that discussion. Is this a good spot for another, big name head coach? Because I know now Deshaun Foster is now fired. I think it's a great spot. And look, I lived in LA for 3 years. Once I finished playing with the Raiders, I had a little place out there. It was great. Westwood's beautiful. It always seemed like the sun was shining. But as far as football, I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if it's buy-in from, the presidents or university presidents or just simply getting good players, because I don't understand how you can be in Los Angeles and not get really good talent in that area. If you just draw a circle around LA, you should be able to have a competitive team. So I don't know if it's going to the Big Ten. I'm not sure if it's trying to figure it out with the quarterback, because keep in mind, Nico Imaliava got there pretty late in the process. So as a QB, sometimes you need 6 or 7 months to really learn an offense to truly master it. But right now, again, similar to what I said about Clemson, they're being out-physicaled, out-coached at times. And that's why now they're going to get a new head coach.
The Tennessee kicker, Max Gilbert, he misses the field goal. I'm curious, what is it like to go to class on that Monday after a bad game? You being the quarterback.
Yeah.
At Florida State, this is different because if you're a professional kicker, you're not seeing people other than your teammates when you go to practice. This guy has to walk on campus and go to classes, and what's that feeling like?
Dude, it's not a good feeling at all, Dan. And, it's one of those things, I would allude to this. So imagine if there's a really pretty girl in class that you sit next to, and she saw you the first couple of weeks. You're like, hey, good game. I see you out there doing your thing. And then you go to class that next Monday after a loss, and she doesn't say anything to you. And that's literally what it is, man. It's one of those just where you have to wear it for the next 6 days until you get a chance to play again, and hopefully you win. But it's tough. It's definitely tough. Not easy.
Miami Hurricanes contender?
They are. I think they're national championship contender. It's funny. I actually texted their offensive coordinator this morning, Shannon Dawson. And I know I'm a Seminole, so technically we shouldn't like each other. But as a professional, and also I was getting recruited by Mario Cristobal years ago, so I've had a relationship with him. They look really good. They're great in all 3 phases. Carson Beck is playing at a high level. And I said this back in the summer, Dan, that when he got to Miami, being in this offense, if you watch the growth of Cam Ward last year, a lot of this is because of play calling from Shannon Dawson, or OC. So he's somebody to keep in mind as far as potential head coaching jobs in the future. But also they got an excellent offensive line. Defense is really physical. So Miami certainly is a contender.
Feels like everybody, we're talking to EJ Manuel, ESPN college football studio analyst, the Arch Manning hype train. There was no room, even in,
Right.
in coach class. It was overhyped, and the machine, now it feels like there's plenty of room in first class here for Arch Manning. What have you seen? And I don't know if he was getting booed, but the offense was getting booed, and he's the quarterback of that offense. But handicap what you've seen and what we should expect out of Arch Manning.
Well, what I've seen is him just not feeling comfortable. And I don't know if this is necessarily the play calls because he's been in this offense for 2 seasons now, going on 3 as the backup in the first 2. But you should have some comfort at this point. And I do think this is partly just the emotion of handling the expectation being a Manning, and your grandpa was a Hall of Famer, your 2 uncles are Hall of Famers, and all the talk that goes into the offseason. And shoot, I mean, he was on preseason lists as a first teamer and hadn't even really played a full season. And so those types of things, I think one is shown that he's human, and we all know that he's human. But I think this is an area where you still see a young man that's growing, that's learning. I'm sure if you ask Coach Sarkisian, does he expect him to play better? Sure. But as a young, inexperienced still quarterback, this is what his 5th or 6th start of his career, Dan, he is technically, on time. And the good thing, too, they've only lost to Ohio State in close fashion. They won these 2 most recent games. Again, not against tough opponents, but the team's still winning. So I think right now for Arch, it's about building confidence, continuing to play with great timing like he did in 2024. And that's really why I think the hype was there, because he looked really good. But it is a different layer of being the backup versus when you're the full-time guy.
You look back at your rookie season in the NFL. If I could say to you, you could change something, because it feels like all of these rookie quarterbacks come in and they all make the same mistake. Yeah. Take me back to that rookie season and how you felt and what you didn't realize.
Yeah, it's a great question. So the one thing that I would look back on, this is probably going to surprise people, but I actually got hurt in the preseason. So I tore my meniscus in the second preseason game, same injury that J.J. McCarthy had last year as a rookie, and got surgery, fought back to be able to play and all that kind of stuff. And truly, man, looking back on it, I wish I advocated for myself and say, hey, Coach, can I get fully healthy before I start my NFL career? Because you get judged as if you're fully healthy. And so that was one part of it. The other part, too, I think just continue to grow and learn the game, and also reaching out to veterans, reaching out to other guys, even if they weren't on my team, reaching out to a Donovan McNabb or a Warren Moon or a Michael Vick, guys who I knew would be willing to help me and to, kind of teach me in the off seasons of just how to be a pro. That was one thing I didn't really have within the locker room. But as far as playing, look, I mean, you got to make the throws, you got to make the reads, you got to be accountable as well when you win, and certainly have to be accountable when you lose. But looking back on it, of course, I still wish I was out there playing, because I got buddies who are still out there going. But I'm proud of it, man. It is what it is. I learned a ton while I was in Buffalo, met some great people, and still rooting for the Bills to this day.
Yeah, but I see these quarterbacks, they don't step up in the pocket. They think that they can make a play. Even Cam Ward rolling right and throwing back left is a terrible throw. It is. I mean, great result, but a terrible throw.
So let me touch on that. I think a little bit of it is, again, inexperience. I think the other part is these quarterbacks were able to get away with it in college. And you assume, hey, I can still make this play. And you know what, Dan? The game has changed. I mean, the game now, the quarterback position is predicated off of athleticism. I mean, the best quarterbacks in our league right now, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, these guys are all very agile, very good athletes that can move around and make plays. So you're right. Sometimes it's not a pretty play. It's not, the basic, hey, 5 in a hitch or 7 in a hitch, step up in the pocket. But, again, for young quarterbacks, I think it's a little bit of grace and giving them that opportunity to grow and make mistakes. And as long as there's a plan, I think that's the other thing too, Dan, for young quarterbacks, there has to be a plan set in place for them for 3 years to say, hey, look, you got to hit this benchmark. You got to get and show me that you've had this amount of growth in this amount of time. And that way I think you can actually scale the amount of growth that you've seen from guys. Look at Patrick Mahomes, look at Josh Allen, how they grew, in their early tenures. Jordan Love, he got to sit for 3 seasons before he came the starter. So a lot of it's about development.
Joe Burrow's not doing anything athletically for the next 3 months.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I saw that. Yeah.
Turf toe. It's one of those, when you hear turf toe, Jack Lambert, I think, ended his career with turf toe. Dion with turf toe.
Yeah.
It's just one of those injuries where you go, huh?
Yeah. It's tough too because Joe's playing so well. He is playing so well. I actually was watching the quarterback series on Netflix and just getting a peek behind his mind and how he goes about his daily life as far as a QB. So it's unfortunate. And look, I think it's Jake Browning who's going to be the backup.
Yeah.
He's played well, and I know that he's still got some really good pieces. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and those kind of guys to still make some plays for him. So Coach Zach got a lot of work to do at this point, but they'll certainly be missing Joe.
My best to your father. Happy birthday to your father, and
Appreciate that.
Great to talk to you again, EJ.
Likewise. Thanks, Dan.
EJ Manuel. He was the 16th pick overall out of Florida State back in 2013, and every Saturday throughout the season, he's with Matt Berry, Joey Galloway on the Mothership.